I'm Emily from Threaded Journey, and I found a new pattern company. I'm so excited about this, and I can't wait to try it. It's called The Bold One. It's a company out of New Zealand, just an independent pattern maker. This pattern download comes with the Rossi wrap or the Fredy wrap. Both dresses are customizable as far as what neckline you want, whether you want the wrap to go to the front or the back. So many things that you can choose. Just the Rossi is sleeveless and the Fredy has sleeves. Deciding on material for a dress is always a hard decision. And this dress does require quite a bit of fabric. If you did the long sleeve version, it's 5 yards. So that's quite a bit. But she does request that you either use natural fabrics or repurposed fabric. And I have a king size sheet that I purchased a couple of months ago at a secondhand store. It's not vintage or anything like that. The tag is Costco. But I think it will be perfect for my spring dress. So I'm going to use that, and I'm going to play with it here, and I'm going to kind of see what style I might like. Do I want sleeves? What neckline do I want? I've made my decision, and I'm going to go with this inspiration photo right here, these customizations, except for I'm going to go for the cuff sleeve instead of the elastic, or that's the plan right now. Just a quick note on your fabric selection. If you are going to use the pattern layout directions that she has, then you need to pick a solid or a non-directional print fabric. If you're using a directional print like my fabric is, which means that it can only go one way, otherwise it'll be upside down, then you need to purchase more than the 4 to 5 yards of fabric that is suggested. So just a little tip there. You're cutting out the Rossi and the Fredy at the same time, but you're going to follow instructions for either the Rossi or the Fredy when you're putting it together. So for the front and back facing pieces, it has all the necklines. So it tells you what line you cut on. I probably will want to do this again. So I just saved the pieces that I cut off and just use painter's tape and put those on. That's what I always do. I have the waist strap wing, which I don't know exactly what I'm doing with yet, but I'll figure it out. The puff sleeve cuff, pocket bag, waist wrap, and then we have all of our main pieces. This is a maxi dress, so if for some reason you wanted to just do a little bit less material, you could obviously make it a lot shorter. These pieces down here are the same, and then you matched it up with whatever top piece that you're going to be using. So here again, I've cut off, I'm going to do the boat neck. These are the other options, and I put them together. So we have a center front to main, a side front, a side back, and a center back main. So those are my pieces, and now it's time to cut it out of fabric. The long sleeve is connected, but if you want the short sleeve, you cut on the red lines. If you're doing the elastic version, this part right here is your fold for your hem, and this is where you would put your elastic. If you're doing the cuff version, then this is your cut line when you're cutting it out. One more thing I found a little bit strange was how they worded the side panel cutting instructions. It says cut 1 pair, 2 pieces all up, instead of saying mirrored, but you are going to mirror them. Here's the picture of what all your pieces should look like. Our pieces are all cut out. Now let's sew. First step is attaching those wings. So clip them in, and now let's stitch. My wings are attached. I went ahead and serged just this part. If you get further down, we'll serge that later. But I went ahead and serged this flipped it up, top stitched it just like the directions said. I made sure I pressed it all flat. Now I'm going to fold it over and I'm going to stitch straight down, leaving this side open. It's stitched, it's serged. I've clipped my corners to make it easier to turn. This is a little bulky right here and a little weird to me. So if you have the fabric to do the wing out like this as you're cutting, go ahead and tape this piece to your waist strap and make it all one piece and forget about attaching the wing. Later, you'll need to baste this really close to the edge of the open side, so I just went ahead and did that here. My ties are turned, pressed, and waiting until I need them. It's time for the facings. You can cut these out like the instructions say, cut out two, stitch them together, or you can remove this seam allowance and cut them on the fold. It'll save you some time, but that's only if you have the fabric to cut them on the fold. You have separate facing pieces, serge them first, then stitch them together, press them open, and then top stitch, and now you have a front and back facing. It's time to put in those princess seams. Getting your princess seam pieces clipped together can be a challenge. So just watch here how I clip this in, how I'm flipping it over, lining that part up, and then just slowly moving it around, making sure, especially in that curve, that I have a lot of clips. I think it is easier to clip something that's a curve. If it's gonna go on the curve of your body, like your shoulder, this is gonna be on my chest, that you curve it as you're clipping, and that helps tremendously with lining it up. I wanted to show you in real time stitching your princess seam. You need to go super slow. Take your time, make sure that you're stopping and making sure that the fabric on the top and the bottom is smooth. From needle down to needle up at the bottom of the dress, this seam took me 5 minutes to stitch. So if you feel like it's taking you a while to stitch in those princess seams, don't worry, it's normal, and you will be so glad you do not have to remove any stitches when you're done. Let's see. One of the reasons you're going really, really slow is because you don't want any puckers. So if your material is not flat underneath or even on top, you'll get a pucker in your fabric, and you definitely do not want that. Once you get past the curve, you can start going faster because it'll just be like sewing a straight seam. I have a tailor's ham, but you can use a towel rolled up or even one of your decorative pillows. Is what I used for a while, but this will help because it's rounded like your body is rounded, so it will help you press open that seam. You have to get that seam pushed over to the side that you want it on. I want to lay it as flat as I can And then just gonna run across it with a lot of steam. My tailor's hem allowed for that really nice press of a curve. Before you finish those seams and before you top stitch, just a little tip here, lay your front piece with your front facing piece and make sure this lines up correctly. If you're off a little bit, then this is not going to line up and you're going to have trouble putting your dress together. Do it for the front and the back. It might save you some time. Then you're just going to very, very slowly serge them or somehow finish off your edges and then come back and repress them to the middle. Then you're going to take it back to your machine and top stitch it just 2 millimeters away from the original stitch line. Shoulder seams are in on facing, serged, and pressed to the front. Shoulder seams are in, serged, and pressed to the back on the main pieces. It's time to sew the necklines together. So I have my main piece, the right side facing up. I'm going to put my facing right side down. Now I have a crease in the middle of the front and the back. This should help me with lining up because I have this center seam. So I should be able to line that center seam up with the middle of that piece. If you had ties for the back, they're gonna be mashed in here so that you can sew them at the same time. Now it's time to stitch. My neckline is in and I have serged it. Get to make your clips in your seam allowance before you understitch. Now I'm going to understitch. So that means I have the facing right here. I'm going to take my seam allowance, make sure it's on the facing side. You're going to stitch your seam allowance down to the facing. And basically, it's like you're top stitching. I have understitched. Now I have flipped my lining to the inside. You can probably see right here the understitching. So that's only going to show on the inside. It's not showing on the outside. Now I have turned mine, pressed it, and I'm going to top stitch it down. And the neckline is finished. Time for pockets. All right, so I'm gonna start with finding the little notches that I made on the sides, and I'm going to be lining up a pocket like this. So I'm doing right sides together. This part is going to be right between those notches. And we're gonna do this for each of the 4 sides. Then we're gonna just stitch. Pockets are in. Make sure you serge your edge just of that pocket area before you understitch. You can do it afterwards, just makes it a little bit harder. And then we're saving the rest of the pocket for when we sew up the side seam. Next step is to hem the lining. Honestly, I don't understand why we didn't hem the lining before we ever sewed the shoulder seams together. But anyway, the instructions say it now. I did serge mine and then a centimeter and a centimeter, and then we're just gonna stitch it down. Time for the sleeve. Because the sleeve was cut on the fold, there is no front or back to the sleeve. It's all the same. So you're going to need to make a mark at the middle so that you know where the middle is, and that's going to match up with your shoulder seam. And then we're going to just do 2 rows of gather stitches from notch to notch on the other side. I'm going to give you a little tip. Start a little bit below that notch because you actually need to gather all the way to the notches. And sometimes when you put those gather stitches in, they'll slip a little bit and you kind of end up starting your gather a little bit further up than you intended. But you need that gather in order to be able to move your arm, especially if it's a little bit snug like mine was. So start your gather stitches a little bit here, and then when you gather, you can always remove anything that you need to. I chose to make a middle crease instead of marking with a pin or anything, that middle line. And then my trick for gather stitches is take a bobbin that you don't need anymore but still full and use that so that you can differentiate your gathering stitches from any other stitch. If you're doing the cuff version, one change I would make is putting in your gather stitches on the bottom and the top and then gathering them at the same time. This will keep it from getting all wonky and not being straight gathers up and down. This will just keep your sleeve from having any kind of twist to it that could cause a problem when wearing. All right, my bands are on, and this is just what it looks like on the inside. So there you go. Before you go any further with the instructions, let me save you some time. The instructions say to baste the lining to the main fabric just on the side. Baste it in all the way around, even at the arms. It's going to help you put those sleeves in later to have that lining secured to the main fabric so it can't slip when you're putting in your sleeve. Okay, do that. Then put in your waist straps like it says, but use safety pins, pin all the way down, and try it on. You need to see if those waist straps are in the right spot. This is going to depend on your own body. Mine, when I followed the original directions, were up too high, and I had to move them down significantly. So this is just going to depend on you, where you like them. It will save you a lot of time if you will do those things first before you stitch in your waist straps. They're now the same. And let's see. Yeah, that's just much better, much better. It doesn't bulk up quite the same. It was just so wrinkly up here with them both being high. When you're happy with your waist strap, finish your side seams. It's time for sleeves. So my dress is wrong side out. I've pressed my seam here to the back. I have my sleeve right side out, and I've pressed that seam to the front. That way there's less bulk right here. I'm going to get my sleeve inside my dress, and I'm going to start by matching up that seam line here and clipping it. just going to do a few little clips here to get this started under the arm. And then I'm going to come up here to the top, and I have that crease line, and I'm going to match that up right here with my shoulder seam there. There's a lot of little strings going everywhere. Now you're going to ease those gathers, either making it shorter or longer so that your notches match up. All right, before you try to finish anything, pull out your gathers, whatever. Try your sleeves on. This one I did great. You can see my center is right here at the center. You can tell this one is a little bit off. It got twisted, so this does not match up here. And so the poof is wrong. So I'm going to take all that out and stitch it again. So I'm going to show you how to get out of this dress. Mine is snug. I do not have a lot of room, and it is pretty tight right here to come up over my chest. So I'm going to show you how I get out of it. When I finished getting my sleeves in, after I serged it, I clipped around my sleeves because it was just a little bit too snug, and that made a huge difference in how comfortable it was. Hemming, I just hemmed like it said. I serged it, I rolled it a centimeter and then did 2 centimeters, went all the way around. I did actually miss a couple of spots, so I just did another line so that I caught all of it. I am the world's worst hemmer. Right, I'm going to do some instructions here on how to tie your wrap. This is just how I'm doing it. I'm going to kind of hold my side over here. Make sure my pocket is to the front and make sure it's flat and lined up at the side. Same thing on the other side. Both of them are flat all the way across. And I'm going to pull them comfortable but snug, and then take them to the back, making sure they're staying flat. And tying it just in a little knot. You can work on however you want to do that, but that's how you kind of get the wrap straight. Okay, so isn't this adorable? Let me show you the back. So cute. It's going to be an adorable spring dress, Easter dress, go to weddings dress. I love it. I'm so pleased with it. Next up is going to be the Rossi wrap. Yay! I already have my fabric planned for it. Think I'm gonna do a shorter version, having the debate, maybe just below my knees. And I'm gonna do a few little things differently. So watch for that video coming up soon.